The longtail cast on is a cast on that I love to use. It's stretchy, it's easy to do, and the only thing that I don't like about it is, the long tail. Sometimes you end up with not enough at the end of the long tail, and sometimes you end up with, 2 or 3 yards. And that kind of stinks when you're working with, some precious yarn. I wanted to show you very quickly for this Technique Tuesday how I measure. I take one quick step before doing anything else to measure, and that is I'm going to cast on 10 stitches using the long tail, eight, 9, and 10. This is a very nice length. It is actually a little bit too long. I kind of like, 6 inches or so to weave in. I'm going to place my finger here and take it off the needle and unwind it to that center stitch, which is right here. This is how much I need with the yarn that I'm working with and the needles that I'm working with for 10 stitches. Now, I am doing a gauge swatch, so I'm using my Chibi circulars, which I love to do because I only need about 50 stitches to do a swatch. So I know that this is how much I need for 10 stitches, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So I'm going to start over here. I'm going to begin casting on. Now, one tip is measure your 10 stitches right before you're going to cast on, because it takes seconds, but also because your tension can change. You can, you might be a little bit more loosey-goosey, and in that case, you're going to use more yarn than before. Make sure you're using the same amount of tension when you are measuring your 10 stitches as when you are casting on. And another thing that I like about this is I can just cast on until I don't have to keep counting, because I know when I get to that point that I'm going to be close, right? So I'm going to cast on to about maybe a little bit more and then count. All right, here is what I have left. And now I'm going to count and see how many I have. All right, I have 4 extra on here. Here's 50 stitches. And that will easily work around for my gauge swatch. Now, I've had some questions in the past, so I thought I would show you how I start knitting in the round, and it's easy to show you on just this little bit here. When I'm working in the round, I move my stitches so that they're all facing the same way. Like, it's easy here because there's 50 stitches here, but if there were a lot of stitches, well then, it wouldn't be so easy. And so I just kind of make sure that everybody's going the same way. I hold both the tail and the working end of the yarn together, and I go into the first stitch and I knit with them together. I then go into the next stitch, give a little tug, and go into that using both the tail and the working end of the yarn. Now I'm going to drop the tail, and I'm going to continue working in the round until I come back. Now, as I'm coming back around, I'm going to slip my marker and I'm going to knit those 2 stitches as one, remembering to do that twice, and then continue knitting. And what that does is it creates a very seamless join here where you don't have a lot of space. Sometimes when new knitters are joining in the round, it's not as tight, so there's kind of a space in between here. You'll also notice that on my shorties, if you own these shorties, which I absolutely love because the sweater that I'm about to design is knit in the round, so my swatch needs to be in the round. And I found with the shorties that while I love these little itty bitty ones, they hurt my hands, you know, just using these little itty bitty things. So what I did is I put a short one on my left hand because I'm a thrower, and the long one, and that comes in the same set, on the right hand. And that is what I need to hold on to. I don't necessarily need to hold on, you know, I can hold on to everything here, but as I'm knitting, it's my right hand that needs the length. And so that's how I set mine up so that I can knit in small circumferences in the round. And it works perfectly when you are knitting a swatch in the round.